The Baki manga begins 2023 with an absolute bang. Biscuit Oliva is back, and most likely much stronger to get some revenge on Sukune. Will Baki Dao provide both Jack and Oliva redemption this year? And will the next season of the Baki anime be released in 2023? I think it will, like you subscribing to the channel in the next 5 seconds. True? True. It seems to be a trend in Baki Dao when they show Oliva, it's him lifting weights. Makes sense looking at him and who he's actually based off. But if you remember back early in the series before his original fight with Sukune, we get this panel where it's pretty much building up Oliva as someone who has incredible back strength enough to lift over half a ton. Which is a very controversial panel to people who don't really read it. It's not saying his max deadlift is half a ton, it's saying he has back strength strong enough to be able to deadlift that, not that it's his theoretical max. And now in his return in chapter 138, we see him repping out 400 kilos on the bench press for multiple sets. Very impressive stuff. Of course, Oliva should be capable of doing much more. And the reason he has recovered, I guess, so fast is of course due to our boy, the doctor, the person key behind Jack's height increases over the whole series, and I guess most characters recovering from their insane injuries. So Biscuit Oliva has been fully rehabilitated, and if you know how Baki works, even if characters were to get injured in return, it's most likely the case that they've gotten much stronger, not just recovering from their injuries. And this is most likely the case as well. Just look at our boy here, he is absolutely ready to just beat up Sukune. Which is pretty funny considering what he actually says here. We have Oliva mentioning that he's just going to take a rest from all of this now. And in reality, he's just, on the hunt for some revenge. He pulls up on Sukune, he's walking in the streets, and we see that he's somewhat recovered from his injuries from Jack, but he's still not in peak condition, of course, losing a finger and all these other various injuries. And Oliva just says to Sukune, I'm rehabilitating, walk with me. So most likely we're going to see a straight fight between Oliva and Sukune. And will this be the start of the trend of Sukune's Ali Jr. treatment? Had his big fight against Jack, which probably was his most important fight of the series so far, got defeated, and now everyone he's pretty much defeated previously are going to come back, or I guess that's really just Oliva and the other sumo dudes. But Sukune has lost quite a few times, lost against Yujiro, technically lost against Baki, lost against Jack, and now Oliver's here to get some revenge. So maybe perhaps rip to him. I am of course hoping Oliva gets this win. He definitely needs more redemption. He has been done dirty for quite some time. For example, when Oliva was initially introduced in the series, this was during actually the Death Row Inmates arc, as the scene between him and Yujiro in Vietnam is actually an anime only scene that isn't in the manga. Let's say you take the anime continuity, when Oliva was first introduced, he's pretty much displayed as someone who Yujiro pretty much needs a little more time to deal with. And then in his actual full introduction in the manga in the Death Row Inmates arc, he's shown as someone who Yujiro respects, kind of portrayed as someone on his level from Baki's perspective, and we see him absolutely dominating the prisoners, so viewed as an absolute monster. And then all the way until we get his actual fight against Baki. Of course he loses that against Demon Back Baki, which is insane, and it was very high diff. And then we have pretty much Oliva just taking L after L. We have the Pickle arc where Oliva essentially does nothing, and then after that, before Yujiro vs Baki's big fight, we see Yujiro just absolutely destroying Oliva, virtually displayed as a no diff. Then he does pretty much nothing during the Yujiro vs Baki fight, Oliva does nothing during the Musashi arc, and then we have his big return in Baki Dao 2018, has his fight against Sukune, and it wasn't really even a fight. He punches Sukune, doesn't really do much damage, gets grabbed and gets his pretty much back broken. So now he's here finally to get some redemption and finally to, I guess, even have a good fight. And let's say he actually does defeat Sukune, this could potentially build up Oliva as another fight for our boy Jack. I think a lot of fans throughout the series have been wanting Oliva to fight Jack, or even someone like Pickle, as we had Baki thinking about this matchup during the Pickle arc, which could result in, of course, Pickle's long-awaited return to the series. But are we really getting the rise of Oliva after all this time? I truly hope so, but I'm still somewhat confused on what they even call the current Baki Dao arc, as we're technically still following the sumos as Keiha just finished and we've gone back to Sukune. How long are we actually going to stick with this, and are we going to switch anytime soon? For example, the Jack arc after him calling out everyone, or maybe even something about Oliver. Speaking about Oliver, it would be quite sad if we had him losing this fight, and I think it would also be pretty unfortunate if Sukune lost this fight as well, considering what has happened to him throughout this arc. But of course, unbiased, give it to Mr. Unchained, he deserves a fat W. Another thing to remember is that we definitely need some Katsumi build up before his fight, with Jack or whoever it is. Meaning we still have many paths of the story to take, and considering how much there is, the manga could still go on for a long time, but we'll have to wait and see. Oliver's here and most likely going to throw some hands with Sukune, who is, to be fair, injured, so if Oliver does win, that could be a factor. However, I think he's just gotten stronger, much stronger from his rehabilitation, and will kind of understand the dangers of Sukune in this situation as well, and won't be as pretty much stupid. I know a lot of people are going to be complaining about the feat from Oliver, him only benching 400 kilos and then once again mentioning that half a ton deadlift. People may say it's a contradiction for previous stuff he's done in the series, for example holding down this military helicopter as he's training. However, none of this is actually described as his max. This is just him repping out 400 kilos in the bench press and being described as someone capable of lifting half a ton on the deadlift. So by no means does this mean it's his max or really anyway a contradiction. It's just the Baki offer being like, oh yeah, Oliver, strong guy, he can do this crazy shit, so yeah, strong dude. I wonder if he's developed his fighting style in any way, as his little training was described as rehabilitation, so new techniques I don't really see as likely. But bringing back some of his old techniques from his fight with Baki would be pretty cool. For example, this one, and maybe Oliver finally unleashing the full extent of his muscles, something I guess we've been waiting for throughout the whole series. So in short, I am very excited that Oliver is back. I'm excited for this fight. I hope it doesn't go on too long, and I'm still waiting for Jack hype. But the other thing I want to talk about in today's video that occurred in chapter 138 is of course Keiha being back again, and our boy Doppo pretty much absolutely clapping him. As I talked about in the previous video, Keiha is pretty much half unconscious, trying to fight Doppo in the hallway after the fight, and I thought Doppo actually stabbed out both of Keiha's eyes. However, for some unknown reason, Doppo decided to be nice, didn't target the eyes, targeted his pretty much nose, caused internal bleeding, and pretty much no-diffed him again. Doppo could have easily taken Keiha's eyes as well, but he chose not to do it, so I guess good guy Doppo, but Keiha is in the mud even deeper now. Wasn't sure whether that was possible, and considering Oliver is now fighting, Sukune may also be joining him in the absolute depths of the mud. But yeah, good stuff. I don't know when the next chapter is coming out. It's most likely going to be Oliver versus Sukune, and then probably going back to the Jack stuff. Most likely, please give us more Jack stuff. But that's pretty much everything for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out all the other stuff in the description. Shout out to the mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon, and I hope everyone has a good 2023.